How to build wealth if I'm just in my 20s? Recently, I received this question from a lot of people who just started working. Here, I would like to share 6 tips for growing serious wealth in your 20s. Hi, my name is Louis, your financial educator. Your 20s are the best time to start accumulating wealth. Check out these 6 best tips for growing serious wealth in your 20s. As a 20-something, it can be hard to know where you should spend your time to grow your wealth most effectively. Should you focus on increasing your income, reducing your expenses, or both? What are strategies that actually work for boosting your income? What are the best ways to keep your expenses low? Please make sure you watch until the end to know the 6 tips. First, focus most of your time and energy on growing your income instead of obsessing over investment returns. In college, I would spend most of my time in classes, sitting in front of my laptop, researching individual stocks to buy. I would then buy the stocks I thought would be hot, hold them for a few months, and promptly sell once they increase in price by 10% or 15%. What I didn't realize at the time was that I didn't have enough capital to even make my returns worthwhile. A 10% return on a $500 investment was only $50. Instead of obsessing over earning investment returns, I should have focused most of my time and energy on developing skills in areas that I could have leveraged to boost my income. When you are just starting out, the majority of your net worth growth will come purely from the gap you create between your income and your spending. And one of the best ways to create this gap is through picking up skills and knowledge that can increase your income by tens of thousands of dollars each year. Tip number 2, follow opportunity, not passion. Most 20-somethings want to identify their passion as quickly as possible and use that passion to make their mark on the world. Unfortunately, to make a meaningful impact requires money, skills, and knowledge, all of which take time to accumulate. In Tribe of Mentors, Tim Ferriss interviews hundreds of successful people from different fields. One of the questions he asks each interviewee is, what advice would you give to a smart, driven college student about to enter the real world? I noticed a trend in the responses. Most interviewees said to pursue skills, money, and knowledge as much as possible in your 20s so that you can have the means to actually impact society in a meaningful way in the following decades. One answer that stood out, in particular, came from the human rights activists. Many students come to me full of wonderful intentions, hoping to change the world. They plan to spend their time helping the poor and disadvantaged. I tell them to first graduate and make a lot of money, and only then figure out how best to help those in need. Too often, students can't meaningfully help the disadvantaged now, even if it makes them feel good for trying to. I've seen so many former students in their late 30s and 40s struggling to make ends meet. They spend their time in college doing good rather than building their careers and futures. I want students today to be careful how they use their precious time and to think carefully about when is the right time to help. It's a well-worn cliche, but you have to help yourself before you help others. This is too often lost on idealistic students. She drives home the point that the more money you have, the more freedom you have to do work you actually want to do. This enables you to focus your attention on places where you can have the greatest impact, since you are not forced to work at a job you hate just to pay the bills. Another excellent response to this question came from the CEO of 3D Robotics, Chris Anderson. Many of us have bought into the cliche, pursue your passion. For many, that is terrible advice. In your 20s, you may not really know what is your best skills and opportunities are. It's much better to pursue learning, personal discipline, and growth, and to seek out connections with people across the planet. For a while, it's just fine to follow and support someone else's dream. In doing so, you will be building valuable relationships, valuable knowledge, and at some point, your passion will come and whisper in your ear, I'm ready. As a 20-something, it can be hard to know what your best skills and opportunities are, simply because you don't have a ton of experience. For this reason alone, it's a good idea to pursue constant growth and accumulate a skill set that creates demand for your work. This naturally leads to opportunities for more income. Tip number 3, acquire knowledge in niche subjects and use that knowledge to boost your income. As a general rule of thumb, if you have a knowledge in area that most people find difficult, cumbersome or dreadful, you can make good money. For example, majoring in actuarial science would enable you to land a job with a salary of $80,000 by age 25. You could also carve out a side hustle with actuarial science tutoring that allows you to tutor students for $100 per hour. In general, there is a massive market for college tutors in STEM subjects such as statistics, calculus, physics, organic chemistry, and engineering. These subjects are hard, and students and parents will pay serious money for help in these areas. If possible, acquire knowledge in one of these areas and use that knowledge to boost your income through tutoring or consulting. Number 4, become obsessed with accumulating assets. The most straightforward path to grow wealth in your 20s is to buy assets and avoid liabilities. An asset is anything that tends to increase in value over time or pays your money simply for owning it. Some examples are real estate, stocks, bonds, websites, and businesses. When you spend $1 on a liability, that dollar is gone forever. But when you spend $1 acquiring an asset, that asset becomes the employee that works relentlessly to earn money for you. The more assets you own, the larger your personal workforce you have at your disposal that can grow your wealth for you. Tip number 5. When you do start making good money, resist the urge to blow it on lifestyle upgrades. I do not know a lot of 20-somethings making over $100,000 per year. Of the few that I do, most of them bought a brand new car or upgraded their apartment as soon as they landed a big-time job. By doing this, they successfully cancel out their high income with equally high expenses. If you are interested in growing serious wealth in your 20s, I recommend doing the opposite. Keep your cost of living low for the first few years, even after you start making good money. In particular, minimize the big 3 expenses of housing, transportation, and food. I have personally kept these 3 expenses low by sharing an apartment with a roommate in my first year out of college, driving a Honda City which is fairly cheap and gets great gas mileage, packing my lunch at least 4 days per week at work. Simultaneously, keeping these big 3 expenses low and increasing my income has proven to be a deadly combination for growing wealth. The decision to resist lifestyle inflation is a major factor that allowed me to boost my net worth from 0 to $100,000 in only 2 years. Number 6, make more attempts than anyone else. In your 20s, one of the fastest ways to grow both personally and professionally is to simply make more attempts than anyone else. For example, when you are out of college, you make $52,000 per year. Once you have been in your role for 1 year, you can ask for a promotion. And if you are told that you have to wait for another year, then instead of hanging around waiting for a raise, you can send out a resume to 10 different companies. If there's only one responded, which turns out to be all you need to score an interview and eventually land a position that pays $80,000 per year. So, do not be terrified of being rejected and only send your resume to only 1 or 2 companies. It's likely that you will still be at your old job, earning far less than you should be earning. Also, the key is not to associate rejections or failure with your identity as a person. If you get rejected, you can simply brush it off and move on. One of the biggest insights you can have personally is that successes tend to be sticky in the sense that they stick with you and propel with you further along in life, as opposed to failures which tends to fall away and be forgotten much quicker than you think. By simply making more attempts, you put yourself in a position to rack up more successes, even if it does come with more failures. Those are the 6 actionable tips for growing serious wealth in your 20s. If you find this video useful, make sure you comment below and hit the like button. If this is the first time you are watching my video, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Every single week we upload 2 videos for you, so hit the subscribe button and go ahead and watch the other videos right now.